Hey guys, welcome back. Bolt Spider here, and today we're going to be doing a deck profile on my Tearlament Ishizu deck that I got first and second place at my locals. So let's take a look at it, and let's waste no time. So for the Tearlament monsters, we have 3 Tearlament Merely, 3 Havenus, 3 Sharon, and 3 Reno Heart. How do I feel about these ratios? I really like them being at 3 of each, but sometimes I do wish I could drop 1 Tearlament Reno Heart instead, because it is a brick so if you draw into a merely for itself, because you have to decide which one you want the normal summon, and most of the time I would rather normal summon merely. And on top of that, we do have the Ishizu package. Now I am running 3 Kelbeck, very standard right there. You have 3 Keldo, 3 Medora, and only 2 Agito. Now I didn't know which one to do because I was flip-flopping between 1 and 3. So I just decided, let's go 2 and see what happens, and it actually performs still relatively well. So, in all light, I'm definitely thinking of dropping it to 1 like most others, since it's not the most useful one out of the bunch. Hellbeck is super useful as a hand trap, and you have the both of the shufflers. Pretty good. Keldo can search out any of these, which is very, very strong. So, outside of that, let's continue, because there are things I do want to talk about coming up. Next up, we have Herald of Orange Light, 1 Diviner, and double Castria Fenrir. So, Herald of Orange Light and Diviner are nice to have, but in my opinion, they are really cards that did get affected when Herald went down to 1, and I was already going to cut it because I was running 3, it was bricking, and I just decided, let's just play 1 because the new ban list. But since I'm cutting down to 10 fairies now, outside of Diviner and the Herald, it really could just be taken out because it's not really useful, and I could play things like Bestials because I'm not on a single Bestial. But Castria Fenrir is a wonderful card because if your opponent already has an established board, you can just summon this out, use it to search another copy, and if they activate an effect, you can banish a card that they control face down. So it can bounce around a negate, which is very useful. Let's get into the spells. We have the 4 copies of Paralino because of terraforming, 2 copies of Scream, and 1 Heartbeat. I really like 2 Scream. It's the same thing as Reno Heart or Agito, flipping back 1 through 3, but I feel like 2 is a good number, and I'm still running Heartbeat because of back row decks and floodgates that you have to worry about. But Heartbeat, it's a good card, even when it's sent to the graveyard, because it does get a Tearlament's trap from your graveyard, so you can get a crime back if you really want to. But these are just self-explanatory. Scream is very, very powerful, and you can mill 3 on your turn and your opponent's turn, which I really like. After that, the other 2 spell cards, 1 Foolish Burial and 1 Instant Fusion. These cards, you have to kind of run them in a deck like this, because this is a free Kick Kalos, and this is a free Foolish Burial for a fusion summon. Or in time, you could send Skullmark to Ladybug or Volcanic Scattershot. After that, we have the trap cards, Double Solic, 1 Crime, 1 Gravekeeper's Trap, and I could say right now, these 2 are being cut, because I don't really find the need for them anymore. And all day yesterday, I was opening up 1 or 2 Solic, which kind of hurts, but you have to do what you have to do. Now let's get into the lovely extra deck. We have double Kikalos, 1 Rukolos, and 1 Kaleido Heart. These, for the fusions, I really like. Calling this for 2 is very useful, just in case if it gets bestialed in the graveyard, or it also gets banished from something like a Castria Unicorn, because people are citing that. In my opinion, it is a very useful to have another copy, and it's just a backup scenario just in case. But those are the tier fusions, and let's get into the other fusions. We have Blood Dragon of the Swamp, we also have Garura, and Predaplant Dracostapelia. These are the three that everyone runs because they all have their uses. And in my opinion, putting this back with a Tearlament monster to summon out Dracostapalia is very, very broken because you could just resummon the Guru later. Now, since I'm cutting Diviner the Herald, I'm going to be cutting Baron de Fleur. It's really nice to have when you make it, but other than that, it definitely could be better. This is going to get swapped for Wallow, and Wallow is a double DD Crow where you can set whatever you want. So it's very useful. After that, we have the Exceeds. One Redoer, one Baguska, one Abyss Dweller, and you always have to have the Zeus now with if you're running Exceeds. So Dweller is great for the mirror match, Baguska is great against Flundries, and Redoer is also great against Sprite. So they all have their uses, which I do like, and in my opinion, the Try Exceeds just seem to work perfect for a deck like this. After that, we have the links being one Dark, one Sprint, and one Elf. In my opinion, if I could fit also, I would. It's one of those links that you kind of need going forward past Photon Hypernova, but that also means I have to cut a couple other cards in my extra deck, but we're not going to worry about also for now. And let's get into the extra deck. Now, the extra deck was fine-tuned a little bit because the story was I pulled a Scarlet Marked Ladybug out of my OC pack. I looked at my stuff and I had two others. So I'm running the 3 Skull Marked, and this card won me a match because I was facing Labyrinth, and I milled 2 of them off of merely plus Kelbeck. So being able to mill 8 cards and gain 2,000 life points, that is very strong. And the cards that are going to be going into the main deck, probably triple Magnamut, 1 Jerusalem. These cards are absolutely broken and I definitely should be playing them. And along with the package, I'm going to keep this sided being the one is Shadows. Super useful in my opinion. It is great against things like Sprite matchup because you could just summon it, call Thunder, and everything gets wiped and destroyed. And they can't summon Thunder monsters. So that turns off their whole deck. Next, on to the spells. Triple Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Feather Duster. I'm flip-flopping between this and Twin Twister, so there's that. And Feather Duster, this card won me a game against Labyrinth, so that's very, very nice. Then afterwards, we have 3 Triple Tactics Talents, which are going to go to the main deck, because this card is absolutely broken, and in my opinion, I should be running it in the main. But I hope you guys did enjoy this Tearlament Ishizu deck profile, and how I pivot the deck compared to others with some choices. But I hope you guys actually did enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next video, and goodbye.